welcome to another unboxing video. So this one is for the brand new addition to the memory book range from Tonic, and these are called the Keepsake Insert Creator die sets, and there's 3 different ones. I'm just going to quickly go through the original 2 releases for the memory books as well, just in case you're not familiar with the concept of them and the other products that they've brought out. So, the first sets to come out were these 2. I'm not sure of the exact name of this one, but you had the smaller page dies and then you had the main outside shape dies, and for the pages you don't have that back edge of them, so you would either have your card folded to create a double folded page, or leave an extra long tab out of here which would help you to attach all of your pages into a sort of spine element, and then you would use the larger dies to create your cover for your book. And you can also use these smaller dies that are supposed to be the pages, but you can use them as like flippy flappy pages inside the book as well. So say you had a book that was like the largest size, inside, I mean, you could use some of these dies to create your pages, and then inside you could have this largest size as a small flip-up element on the page, so you can have extra photos hidden behind, and you can even use the next size down the other way around, so they flip out from each other, if that makes sense. But so that was the original idea for the memory book dies, and then they brought out a second release of dies, which was they called the Keepsake Book Creators. And you got this new shape of a page, and again you've got that same idea of these ones not having that back edge, just like the original set, and then so you have the same concept of not having a back edge here, but then having an extra die that does have the cutting edge all the way around, so that you can create a layer to go on your page as well. So that was the second release that they brought out, and it has that gorgeous memories die in the centre, which is one of my favourites. And then to help make creating a book easier, they also brought out a spine element, which you can die cut, and if you can see on the die, these little notchy bits, those 2 pieces bend upwards in a mountain and stick together to create the little spine element where your pages sit onto. So this one spine, cutting it once, would give you enough spaces to stick 3 pairs of pages on. So if you wanted a wider book, you would cut this 2 or 3 times to give you a wider spine for more things to sit on. But it also gives you space between your pages, so this gap here between the 2 sections that have the dots on, that would be your spacing between your pages, so it would allow you to add 3D foam to the elements on your pages without them interfering with each other too much and making a big splayed out book. But I will show you this die set in use with the brand new Keepsake Insert Creators, and also with the original shape. I also made a book using the spine with this shape of a book too. And then along with the second release, you also had some other die sets. This one was called the Photos and Film Strip dies, which obviously give you that gorgeous film strip, and you have all the little elements, so you could die cut your photographs to fit perfectly behind the apertures in there. And you also got a really gorgeous Polaroid die with all these little words as well. You've got love is, on this day, believe, always, remember, adore, celebrate, and then you've got a few little corner elements and some little heart elements and stuff as well. They also brought out this Baroque frame set. Now there's something else they brought out which I don't have. There's an embossing folder called like a tome or something like that, and it actually has this exact pattern in it, so you can emboss the whole part of your book, and it gives you a cool spine and an embossed element on the front of your book as well. So make sure to like Google that to see what you think of that too. But it's this exact same shape as this Baroque die set, and this was made so you've got like the little nicks here, so you can use these shapes to cut your photographs out and then like poke them underneath it, so that you don't have to stick them down. And you've also got another little frame element. And then there was also, it's a bit muddled up because I stuck this on with another one, but this gorgeous little paper clip and all of these little pieces were the tabs and paper clip die set that also came out as well, which enables you to if you cut that and fold it in half, it gives you a little tab, so you can stick it to a little die cut shape and have it as a little pull out element within a pocket in your book as well. So those are all the original releases. If I quickly get up and get this actually. So example wise, for using the original shape of the memory book and also combining it with the spine, I created this page by page art journal. You've probably seen the videos go up on this channel. They're originally on my Arty Potential channel, but because I've been merging everything, they're all on this channel now. And so for this one I used that original die set. I think I used the largest one on it and then a few smaller to create the frame. And then I also used these pages, this shape, to create my pages rather than using the smaller ones with the little extension bit on the side. And then to enable me to stick them all together, I've used the spine element in there, and you can see what I was trying to explain before, how these two pieces fold up into a little mountain and stick together to give you where you stick all of your pages to. And then for that one, I had created a separate piece to connect the front and the back of the book together, and I made sure the width in the middle was the width of the spine as well. So that you see these pages have got a bit of bulk to them, but the book isn't bulking out because you've got all that space between them, which is really nice. It gives a nicer professional look to your little book as well. So this was just that art journal that I was doing. I find it's really nice to be able to create an art journal like this, because if you're just creating on a separate page, if you don't like it, it doesn't matter. It's not stuck in your book and you've got to try and rip it out or something. You can just chuck it and then start again, and then, you know, you're not going to feel annoyed that you've got something you don't like so much in your art journal. So that's just one idea of using them. And then, okay, I think I'll just go on to showing you the die sets now, and then I'll show you my samples afterwards. So, the main reason of this video, after my little detour talking about the older additions to the memory book series from Tonic, these ones are called the Keepsake Insert Creator die sets. There's 3 different ones. One of them's called Book of Special Memories, one of them's called Memorable Moments, and the other one's called The Life You Love. And the names all correspond to what the sentiment is that can go on the front of your book. So let's start with this one, which is called the Book of Special Memories, because the main sentiment die says My Book of Special Memories. It's a really gorgeous shape, this one, and they all come like this. So you have your spine element in the centre, and then you have 2 flaps. You've got one a lot larger and one slightly smaller. And so to create your piece, you would cut this out, and it would give you, if you use the whole pieces, you can fold this in half and do a lacing method as a binding, which I'll show you. Or if you wanted to, you could just chop off here for all of your pages, and use the spine to create a book as well. So it's a really versatile die set that you can use the whole thing in its entirety, or you can use, you could use the smaller pages as well if you wanted to. You could have a really narrow book. Yeah, so it's a really versatile set, and it's also great for card making too. I've actually made 5 cards with it as well, because obviously I love my card making. But the idea is the same for all of the 3 sets. You get that outside shape which has your spine in the middle and a shorter page and a longer page on it, and then in the centre you also have a choice of 2 different versions of how to lace up the book if you're going to do that method of binding. So you get 6 different ones of those in total, and because they all have different shapes, you get all of the different pieces to go to work as eyelets on them as well, which is really lovely. So you can like die cut these little buckle pieces and place them exactly over those pieces, and it will strengthen it. So if you're going to be weaving ribbon in and out of it or putting twine through them, it's really going to strengthen it because you're going to have a double layer of card there as well. So you've got that cool element. Then you get the sentiment within it. This one sentiment is actually complete, so you don't need an extra edge to it. It's actually a complete piece like that. That actually cuts out all of the wording, and you have 2 extra bubbles for that one for layering. And this one has that gorgeous latticey design. I really love this design. You'll see it on one of my cards. I really love that design. And I really love the outsides of these one as well, because look at it. It's got stitching on it, but it's actually wonky. Like the actual edge of the die where it cuts, it gives a wonky edge, so it makes it look like you hand cut the layers for your pages, but it's still going to give you that perfect like beveled edge of when you die cut it, which I think is so gorgeous. I really love that idea. So that is the first one, which is called the Book of Special Memories. Then the second one, I'm making a mess with stuff. The second one is The Life You Love, and the sentiment is create the life you love, right in the centre of this one. Oh, and all the samples that are on the front of the packaging are all done by Ali at Tonic HQ, and I actually got to see these in real life, and they're really gorgeous. Like, she does such an amazing job creating all the samples to go on the front of the packaging. It's amazing. Okay, so this is the second one, and this one, this piece, this end piece, the smaller piece, is actually identical to this side. Because it's got the straight edges, that piece is actually identical. So when you're decorating, the smaller piece will actually fit perfectly up that end of the die. I'll try and explain what I mean. So for this one, because it's got the curved shape to the edge of it and it's not straight all the way across, this piece doesn't exactly match that end piece. You can still put it on there, but it doesn't exactly match the shape just because of the wiggly shape of the edge of the die set. But you can put it up here if you wanted to decorate it there. It works better there, I think. But anyway, that was just something I noticed when I was using them. I didn't really think about it. I did it with this one first, and then I was like, oh, that's probably going to work for all of them, but it didn't. So, okay, so in this set you've got that, it's got the gorgeous straight edges, which I really love this one. This one's my favourite. I think I used it the most as well. But again, you've got that same spine element in the centre and this. And when you're doing the weaving version of putting your book together, say you chose the square holes, for the weaving version, if you're using both pages and you want to fold that over so you've got a double page held into the spine, you're going to need to cut the holes in both of those spine sections. So the good thing is, well, obviously you've got the score line down the middle, but because they've done that, it makes it really easy to line them up perfectly. I did all of the first ones. I stuck their die to the outside die to cut the first of them, and I was thinking, oh no, how am I going to get the second ones to be exactly in the right place? But it is really easy to line it up. Even when you haven't got the outside die on, you've got the indents from the score lines, and it's really easy to line the second one up. So that there's nothing to worry about with that. Yeah, so then on this one, again, you've got the eyelets that go with the holes for the spine as well. So you've got square eyelets to go on the square holes, and you've got the circle ones to go over the circular holes as well. And this one has a gorgeous floral pattern. I really, really like this one. That floral pattern is stunning, and you'll be able to see it on, I used it on my one of the books I made and on a card actually. And then you've got the gorgeous one that has the central element, which is your sentiment as well. And the sentiment is create the life you love, and you can see, you'll be able to see how I altered that on my sample in a second as well. So that's the second set. They're all the same concept, but giving you different versions, so you don't have to get all of them if you don't want to. You could just get one and play around with it. Or you can get all of them and you can probably mix and match the pages together. I mean, I think the spine is the same height on them all. I didn't mix any of them with my books. No, the spine is exactly the same height. So you could have a mixture of pages in your book if you wanted to as well. You don't have to stick with the same shape of page within your book. You can have all different pages. And then the final one is called Memorable Moments, which has a very tapered shape to it, but the spine is the same length again. And for this one, actually, pretty sure that is the same. Almost the same. That's almost the exact same. Or if you put it down here, it would look really gorgeous as well if you're layering up the elements. And this one has a lovely trellis pattern with flowers coming in from the side as the main pattern. And then you've also got the different spines again. This one's got flat holes in it for threading your ribbons through, and you also have different buckles because this one's like a singular hole, so you've actually got like a little buckle eyelet to go over them too. And I love that you get enough to cut all of them out in one go. So the number of holes that are on here, if you just cut both of those pieces out that they give you with the eyelets on, that is enough to cover the holes for that one spine. So it means a lot less die cutting, because can you imagine if you just had the one little die, you'd probably lose it, and having to cut that out like, well, 4 times and then 2 times for that one would just be a nightmare. So it's really good that they've thought about that. And again, like for these, you've got 8 of them and then there's 8 holes down the spine, so it's perfect. And this one's shape, I should show you that too. I haven't actually used this one to create a book, which is why it's still very stuck onto my packaging. So that is the shape of that one, which gives a really interesting shape actually. I used this element on a card, but I didn't actually use this one to create a book. I might do in the future though. Okay, so they're all of the die sets, and on the back of each of them they show you different ways to arrange the decorative elements to decorate, and how to cut into the card and cut out of the card. And it also shows you the different ways of binding them too, showing you how you would weave your twine or ribbon in and out of all the little areas on them. So that is a close-up look at the die sets. Now if I show you my samples, I'm hoping it will make anything a little bit clearer if I've not been that clear. So I did 2 samples. I did one with the binding method, like weaving the twine in and out of the holes, and I did one using the spine from the Keepsake memory book creators. And I decided to do a mini art journal, because you know I love making art journals from the first one I showed you. But I did a mini art journal and I did a little recipe book as well. I sort of went with masculine colours and did a little recipe book. But I'll show you the art journal first. And I decided to mix up the sentiment on the front. I wanted something that filled it a bit more. And Tonic have just come out with some of their new media dies. And I don't know if I got the packaging here. These are the ones they've got. They've got Live, Laugh, Love. Then they've got Eat, Sleep, Dance, Repeat, Craft, Repeat, or Shop, Repeat. And then they've got Welcome to the Family, Welcome to the World, Welcome to the Madhouse as well. So I've used the Craft and Love from 2 of the different sets to change the sentiment from instead of saying create the life you love, I've done craft the life you love, because it's an art journal and you've been like crafty inside it. And I snipped out the word love down there and added it big because I wanted to balance the word craft. If I just put craft at the top, it would have been a bit too bulky. And then I've also used the panel from the actual die set, which is the Life You Love insert creator. And I've stuck the intricate one on top of the solid one. And then I've just used the brand new mica mists, the 2 from the Dream in Colour collection, which are Pecan Peach and Oriental Fuchsia. That's what I've used. I've used that for most of the pages inside actually as well. And these flowers are from, I can't remember the exact name of it. They're from the Diamond Cut Heart Box die set, which came out a little while ago, that creates that heart-shaped box. And then so for the spine of this one, I've used the square holes and I've done the square eyelets on it. And I've just used pattern papers to make this one because I've made it into an art journal. I'm like, in my head I was like, so you would die cut your panel like this this one from a heavier weight of card, do all of your messy, inky, creative stuff on that, and then you would have your finished book, and then you would just stick that inside it once you'd finished. So that was my idea behind this book. So I've done a few pages, obviously, to show because it's a sample. But yeah, that was my idea behind this kind of a book, and it's literally just made from patterned papers. This is one of those first edition pattern paper pads. It was a 12 by 12 one I got it from the works, and it was like £3 for a 12 by 12 pad of so many pieces, so you don't feel too precious about using it all up. And obviously once you stuck a page on it, it makes it a lot sturdier as well. And how many pages did I cut? I think maybe it was 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I did 6 altogether, but 1 is the back cover. And I kept both pieces in. So the way I did the spine was I had the main piece that I'd cut, and then I folded it in half. So I made sure, so here where you have the 2 pieces inside it, I obviously used this piece twice to cut the holes in exactly the same place. Then I folded it in half down there so the holes matched up. And then I slid each set of pages inside each other, and I added 1 more on the top where I had just cut off the larger page, and then I used twine to keep it all together. It was a little bit tricky to weave through. You have to really make sure all of the pages are butted up inside, and then if you stick a little bit of sellotape to the end of your twine, it makes it really easy to weave in and out. And to get the binding to look like this, I started here. So I started on the front of the book, and then I weaved through to the back, and then up to the front, to the back, up to the front, to the back, up to the front, and then to the back, and then came out the front again, and then just pulled the twine back up near the top and tied a bow to finish it off. So you get that neat look on the back of the book then as well. So then inside the book, I've just added a few random pages. I was just having fun colouring, making backgrounds. This was using a few colours of Aquaflows to create the background, and then I stamped and coloured with the Nuvo glitter markers. And then this one, I was playing around with one of the new mousse colours, I think it's called Triple Berry, and one of the new stencils as well. And these are just some of the memory book sentiments and a Will's Hand sentiment. Then I had to use some of the mermaids in it too. So this again is stuff from the Dream in Colour collection. That's that Pecan Peach Mica Mist. And then I added in the mermaid. Then I did this one because I just got these dies and I really wanted to use them. So I put that in there. And this is another one of those stamp sets that Tonic's done in the past that came out with the flower one at the beginning. And then a little Will's Hand sentiment. And then I did this little page as well, using that actual die from the set. And I used some of the aloe vera mousse in the background, and then that's just an Aquaflow background as well. So I just wanted to show how you can create a cool little art journal. Like say you're really into art journaling and you've got a friend who's been umming and ahhing, you could just create a cute little pattern paper book like this for them. Cut out all the pages for them out of a heavier weight of card, and then they can just have fun playing and stick them in wherever they want to. As soon as they've done one that they really like, they can just stick it in. So I thought that was quite a nice idea. So that was the first one that I did, and that was using the weaving sort of binding method for it. Then the second book I did was the recipe book, and I used the spine on this one. And I used craft card to make it as well, and I just added in 1 recipe. So the idea would be, it's just for it says, oh yeah, so I'll say how I altered the front of it to make it a recipe book. So it said my book of special memories, but all I did was put the word recipes over the top of memories, so it's now my book of special recipes. Yeah, so I just put lasagna in there first, that's my favourite thing. And then I did a little like belly band across here, and then you've got like the method to make the bolognese, to make the cheese sauce, and to assemble it as well. And then when I was sticking all the pages together, I made sure to leave a pocket. So you're just sticking on the 3 sides, so then you've got a little pocket to put any extra notes in, like you could write double the recipe to feed 8 people, or you know, what, that kind of thing. So that's how you would put a recipe in here. And then I've also done, because when you have the spine, if I show you from underneath, when you have the spine, it's this bit, and this bit is where you stick your pages to, but there's big gaps in between, and if you haven't added anything too bulky, you've got the space in there. So I took a piece of pattern paper, some pieces of just printer paper, and created my own little notebook. And then I just tied it in with a bit of the same twine. It's one of the Craft Perfect ones. It's just like a natural twine. Yeah, so I just tied in a little notebook. I've got one down here. This was my prototype. It was a little bit short because I wanted you to be able to see the pattern coming through there. But all I did was take a piece of pattern paper and like eight sheets, I think, of printer paper, and then I literally just put 2 staples down the spine of it to hold it together and create a little notebook. So then that kind of thing, you know, you could use them as shopping lists. You could be flicking through your favourite recipes and write a little shopping list of what you need to go and buy or something. I don't know. I just thought it was a cute idea. Yeah, so we got that in there, and then there is only 3 pages to write recipes, but I thought because it says my book of special recipes, it's probably going to be your favourite things that you like to bake, or you could even write other recipes in the little notebooks as well if you wanted to. And the way I've done the pages in this one, okay, so the way to make this one, I didn't film either of the making of these 2 books because they literally took me an entire day to make, and I was filming half of it when it was dark. Well, I was making half of it when it was dark, so I wouldn't have been able to film it. But anyway, so the way I did it, if I go back to the die set, so to create the outside of the book, I cut this one, but I only like did it up to about here, and then I trimmed off down this section. And then for the back cover, I did this whole piece and just did it up to about here, and then I trimmed it off again, so that I had a piece that would give me this shape, if you can see here. So this front part is attached to the spine, and then this part is an extra piece stuck on. So that gave me my whole spine element. And then I then used the actual spine die. I'll show you from below. But obviously you have to snip off parts of it to fit the width of this book. But you can see where the 3 pages are, and then I just snipped off to leave a tiny little edge. I think you can kind of see it if it'll focus. So I just snipped off the 2 edges of the spine so it would fit within there. And then for the actual pages of the book, for the centre page, I just did the same as I'd done for the back cover and cut 2 of them off at that first score line, and then stuck them back to back to give the pocket inside. And then for the other 2 pages that are stuck on the 2 outside portions of the spine, these were actually the whole thing. So I cut the whole thing like that, and then to attach it to the spine, I folded down this central score line and added tape to both of those sections inside it, and then stuck the part of the spine up inside that fold, if that makes sense. And then I kind of like stuck that piece back onto the small page. So that's the fold where, I mean, you don't have to make it like that. It was just how I was doing it, and then I made that into a pocket as well. I'm not very good at explaining how I made memory books, so make sure that you watch all of the shows on the telly to see Jodie making them, because I'm sure she's going to explain it a lot better. And I'll try and remember to link it in the description as well. Tonic just put up a whole playlist of Jodie making the original memory books and showing you how to create it all, so make sure to watch all of that because I'm sure she's going to explain it a lot better than I have. But anyway, so that was my 2 little books that I'd actually made, which is the actual purpose of these die sets. So they're the 2 little books, but you know what I'm like, and I don't like to stick to the actual purpose of a die set, so I had to make some cards. So this one is using that. I really love this one, and I really enjoyed colouring that in as well. I just used the Nouveau alcohol pens, and these 3 actually I filmed, so there will be videos up for these 3 cards as well. And so this one was the Life You Love die set, and I really love the little eyelets, and look how you can make like a little cascading element. I really, really like that. It looks really cool. Anyway, yeah, so I just basically cut that smaller page element. You could, if you wanted to make a bigger card, you could cut the bigger page element as well, which has the oval in the centre, and you could even just use the sentiment from that memory book die set, because Create the Life You Love is a nice sentiment for a card too. Yeah, so I just used one of the sentiment strip dies along the bottom, added a few sequins, and that's it really, really simple card. And I just added some glitter around the edges. Then, I said before, I really love that pattern from the Book of Special Memories, that gorgeous crisscross pattern. I wish they'd come out with a whole background die of that. I really love that pattern. It's like a tartan, so obviously I had to paper piece it. It did take quite a while, but so how I did that was I took that die and then I die cut it once like that, and then I die cut it again. And I overlapped the pattern in the middle. I tried to line it up as best as I could. It does line up, but I knew I wanted to add my sentiment across the centre. So anywhere where it miscut just a teeny bit, you really can't tell now because I put the sentiment across the centre of it. But I really like that shape actually that it's given. I think it looks really nice. And to do this, I used all of the colours that came out in the Arabian Nights colour collection from 2018 as well, because I really love that combination of colours. And I just used a few sequins with, what's that, Golden Sunset, I think. Nouveau glitter drops right in the centre of them as well. And again, one of the sentiment strip dies because they're my absolute favourite. So that's another way of using them. You can paper piece with them. But don't forget actually, all these ideas I'm showing you, you can easily transfer them to the front of your memory books. If you're a memory book person, you can easily put all of these techniques on the front of your memory book, and even where I've shown you like to make a bigger thing like this could be the front of a larger memory book, not using the base from the Keepsake insert memory books or Keepsake insert creators. You could actually have it as the front of a memory book that you've made with this die set as well. So that could be the front of a memory book. Then I've also done this one, which was using, I tried to make at least one card using each of the 3 die sets, and this one was the Memorable Moments one, using that intricate panel die down here just to give the background some interest. And then I also used the actual like basic layering shapes out of this one too, that's supposed to go around the Memorable Moments sentiment, but I just used them to create a matte and layer to give me somewhere to stamp an image and colour it in. So they don't just have to be for your memory books. You might be a memory book person, but if you need to make a quick card, you can easily use all of the elements from them to create some really nice cards. So that was that one. Then I wanted to do something using all the different spine elements. So this is using every single spine from the 3 sets and this one twice, because I like that one the most with the stitched edging around it. And all I did was cut strips of card, like these ones. These are the leftovers. Strips of card into 1 centimetre wide strips, and then I just die cut the spine from them. So really, really easy. And then that is just the sentiment from the Life You Love die set. So that's literally just that sentiment stuck on top of it, really easy. And I just added a little bit of pure platinum mousse, I don't know if you can catch it, a little bit in the background and to the sentiment as well. But really, really simple, just creating a rainbow effect. And if you don't like rainbow, they could all be the same colour, they could all be different tones of the same colour. They could be, you can make a stripy pattern with different colours, so anything really, but a really simple card to make, and you can cut all of them at the same time, so it's quite quick actually too. And then finally I wanted to make a really elegant card, and I've used that outer piece from the Life You Love die set again. I think you can tell that one was one of my favourite sets. And And this, so I've put it on a card blank so it'll stand up like a top folding card, but it's also a gatefold card too, which has a magnetic closure on it just to keep it together. I did want it just to be a gatefold card, but then I was like, that's not going to stand up. And then I put a magnet on it, and then I'm like, well, it's definitely not going to stand up now because I put a magnet on it. So that's just going to stand like that, but it has that gatefold. So you could hide something in there. You could add a photograph in there, or whatever you want to, really. I just thought it looked really elegant. And so I basically just used the 2 pieces from the smaller side of the page. And for the back piece, I actually used one of the Idyllics embossing folders just to give a little bit of pattern to it. And then this is just that With All My Love sentiment die that came out a few months ago from Tonic as well. So yeah, that was all my cards and the 2 little books that I made using all of these brand new Keepsake Insert Creator die sets that I'm sure will be on the telly be on the telly before I put this video up. But I just wanted to make it whilst I had all of my samples here, and I hope my explanations are kind of clear. I'm not very good at explaining stuff really. So, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again in my next video. Bye!